the career. Oh, also, we're going to be recording this session, and the recording will be posted on Illinois WorkNet following this bidders conference. But welcome to the Career Planner Training Academy, or IWDS 2.0 Trainer NOFO Bidders Conference. I'm fairly certain that I know or have worked with a lot of you, but if I've not, my name's Sarah Blaylock, and I'm the Technical Assistance Manager here at OET, and I'm joined with Gina Wells. Gina, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Gina Wells with the American Institutes for Research. We're supporting DCEO in the effort to develop training for career planners for IWDS 2.0.
Great. Thanks, Gina. All right, so today's agenda is on the slide. We're going to provide an overview of this program, review the application process, and finally review a few technical assistance opportunities. Next slide, please. All right, so this NOFO was really designed to support Illinois local workforce innovation areas in designating qualified staff as trainers to effectively implement the Illinois Workforce Development System 2.0 Reporting and Case Management System, or IWDS 2.0. The funding will enable up to 20 local areas to deliver comprehensive training for career planners on IWDS 2.0 and associated workforce policies, promoting a customer-centered approach that aligns with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Now, Gina is going to discuss the following strategies within this opportunity.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all here today. We're going to sort of talk through these slides and then take questions at the end. If you have any questions that come to your mind as we're going through, please pop them into the chat so that we can, think about them ahead of time, and then we'll take all the questions at the end. And also, you can come off mute at the end and ask any questions that you have. So I'm going to start by just talking a little bit about the statewide training to support rollout of IWDS 2.0. Hopefully you had a chance to attend an earlier webinar that we did where we talked just about what that strategy was going to look like and how the state was thinking about funding these trainers. But we're going to talk a little bit about it again here, and it's described in pretty good detail in the NOFO. So OET is going to implement a regional collaborative training model to support the rollout of IWDS 2.0, and importantly, the integration of the customer-centered service delivery strategy for WIOA Title I and trade-funded programs that's kind of baked into the redesign of IWDS. There's going to be approximately 15 to 20 trainers who are funded. There are approximately 900 case managers across the state. So that figure of 15 to 20 was arrived at by kind of calculating a reasonable allocation of case managers per trainee. And the assignments are going to be based on LWIA size and some regional groupings, which you saw in the NOFO and which we'll talk about in just a second. The approach will be a train the trainer model. So we're developing a curriculum and a train the trainer toolkit that trainers will use to then work directly with case managers, career planners to give everybody the information that they need. So that approach is going to expand training reach. It's going to promote consistency and empower staff in local workforce areas to take these leadership roles on in workforce development. The training is going to combine policy guidance, technical instruction, and show how IWDS 2.0 supports WIOA policy and the customer-centered service delivery strategy that you all have worked so hard and continue to work on to integrate into your work. The trainers will teach the system navigation and the customer-centered practices and help the career planners apply policy in a daily kind of case management environment. And then the funding that DCO is making available is going to cover comprehensively the costs of the local trainers. So it's going to cover personnel, travel, facilities rental if necessary, any materials that are needed to deliver effective training across the local workforce areas. So to talk a little bit about what it will be like for trainers to be doing this work, I think it's helpful to think about how we're structuring the learning journey for career planners as they are introduced to IWDS 2.0. So the idea is rather than just giving technical training, like here's the system, click here, click there, that piece of it is going to be integrated into what a career planner's workflow is. So the training will, for each component of the case management system, so like for intake and assessment. The training will first talk about the customer-centered purpose of this activity within our system. So, why do we do these things with our customers? Why are we collecting these elements and these data elements, and how does the collection of these data elements impact and improve the quality of services to the customer? Then what is the federal and Illinois specific policy that we need to know in order to do this piece of the work well? What are best practices in case management and customer-centered service delivery that help us both do this administrative task of gathering this data and meet the needs of our customers? And then finally, how we're going to navigate and enter data into IWDS 2.0. So that will be for each chunk of elements in the system, that will be the learning journey that we create for career planners. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the system-wide training. So when is this going to happen? The training timeline will begin in Q2 of calendar year 2026, so April, and will continue beyond the go-live date for IWDS 2.0. So the go-live date is July of 2026. The idea is to start training before then and then continue to provide training afterwards. There'll be a blended learning model that includes in-person training for career planners, 10 to 16 hours, virtual sessions, and then a self-paced online course that will cover all the nuts and bolts. Lots of instructional resources will be available. There'll be documents, there'll be desk aids, there'll be quick start guides, videos, and there'll be regularly scheduled virtual office hours for real-time support. Again, this is all the things that are going to be available to support users of IWDS 2.0. The trainer role, which is the positions that are being funded by this NOFO, the local workforce professionals who take on that role, they will lead the training, ensure the consistent application of WIOA policies, and support the shift to this customer-centered service delivery model. Lots of support is going to be available for the folks who are stepping into this really important role. So we're going to have lots of training for the trainers. There's going to be a phased training rollout that will start in the fall of this year. So once grants are awarded and the individuals are identified, there's going to be the beginning of this development process. So they'll have a structured phased in training process before they're in front of career planners delivering the sessions themselves. That training is going to include WIOA policy integration, full walkthroughs of the IWDS 2.0 system, will be delivered both online and in person. There'll be lots of opportunities for hands-on practice in real-world scenarios. The trainers will complete about 32 hours of training, including 10 to 16 hours of in-person instruction and some guided pre-work, and then some additional training that will be online. And the idea is that through this training, they're going to master the system, they're going to feel confident about the related policies, they're going to feel confident about their facilitation and training skills, and feel ready to provide that support to career planners. So, eligible entities, this funding is available for local workforce innovation area grantees of the WIOA Title I grant funds. You have seen this chart before, both in the NOFO and DCEO shared it a little bit earlier. The idea is that local workforce areas will apply in these groupings here with the associated allocation of trainers. So you can find your LWIA here on this list and see who you're partnered with to work on your application. And these are sort of geographically connected so that the individual can get to all the career planners in these areas. All right, so the timeline, the period of performance will be October 1st of 2025 through June 30th of 2027. Pre-award costs may be allowed starting on July 1st based on the final negotiation of the terms of the grant award. So, but the idea is that this funding would primarily begin on October 1st. So what will the local area trainers be required to do? So we talked about this at a high level. We'll talk about it in a little more detail now. So they're going to master the system and the policy needed to convey information to career planners. They're going to conduct the outreach and share information about the training with career planners, schedule those training sessions, update the statewide training calendar, handle all the logistics associated with the in-person training events, support learners who are participating in the self-paced components, so answering questions, checking in, and host regular office hours to answer questions from and assist training participants and staff using the system. They're going to serve as an ongoing resource for users after the training. So beyond July of next year, troubleshoot common issues, escalate complex problems up to OET. There is some reporting requirements that will be needed in order to so that everyone knows how the training rollout is going. So providing monthly reports on staff participation, providing staff evaluations of the training and other topics that might be requested. There'll be some coordination meetings that they need to attend, and OET, is looking forward to their actively contributing to continuous improvement, providing feedback, making sure the system is working as intended. There are going to be sort of 3 phases. So we talked about how once trainers are identified, they're immediately going to be sort of pulled into this period of preparation before they start delivering training to career planners. So try to kind of chunk that out into 3 phases, and those phases have different intensities of work related to this role. So phase 1 is that preparation and orientation phase. It'll start really more October through March of 2026, maybe about 16 hours a month. So trainers will be invited into the development process because IWDS 2.0 is still under development. They'll be brought into that process as subject matter experts, both so that they can inform the development, but also so that they're becoming familiar with and comfortable with how the new system is designed and how it will operate. They'll give feedback on that. They'll get some training on group facilitation and related training skills, and they'll participate in state trainings and coordination meetings. In phase 2, which will be April of 2026 to September of 2026, that's the intensive transition training. So that's where they will both get the rest of their training, the train the trainer pieces, and then where they will do outreach and information sharing, scheduling, tracking, training registration and participation, all these sort of admin work of helping the career planner trainings happen. They'll finish receiving their training. They'll be the trainers and deliver training to career planners, host their office hours, answer ad hoc questions. This is more intense, so more like 16 hours a week in this time period. And then there's phase 3, which we're calling maintenance training, which will be from October of 2026 to the end of the grant. Again, about 16 hours a month or up to that amount, where they'll be providing ongoing training as needed, hosting office hours, answering questions, being the first line of support for career planners, and then participating in coordination meetings. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Sarah to take us through the next few slides.
Thanks, Gina. So based on all those required activities, when your region is selecting a trainer, we need you to keep in mind these criteria. So their knowledge and experience. So the knowledge of effective case management, you need to have a willingness to learn and become a subject matter expert on IWDS 2.0 and WIOA case management policies, and have the ability to address complex inquiries with accuracy. They need to have passion and connection and demonstrate genuine enthusiasm for the subject matter and DCO's vision for customer-centered service delivery, and have the ability to share relevant examples and application of content, fostering a deeper connection to the work. They must have strong communication and training skills and have the ability to use and follow the train the trainer guides that Gina discussed, and model customer-centered language, providing opportunities for learners to ask questions and seek clarification. And they must also have effective facilitation skills, cultivating an inclusive and supportive learning environment. And we will be sharing a copy of this PowerPoint after the presentation. Gina, if you can go ahead and go to the next slide. Thanks. All right, so Gina did discuss a lot of these during the phase overview, but these are the performance measures and goals within this NOFO. So the trainer must attend mandatory training and meetings. So the trainer must commit to attending at least 90% of the phase 1 meetings Gina discussed, and 100% of the intensive training in phase 2, the train the trainer activities and events. 90% of all career planners and the LWIAs must receive training in phase 2 by August 31, 2026, and hold a minimum of 1 office hour per week during phase 2, the intensive phase, and a minimum of 2 office hours per week in phase 3. Trainers also must achieve an average satisfaction rating of 80% or greater on the feedback of the evaluations provided by DCEO. All right, these have been discussed a little bit, but here are the allowable costs within this NOFO. Personnel costs, travel expenses, facility costs, supplies and materials related to the training, technology and software, communication and outreach, evaluation and reporting, and trainer support and professional development, all related to the training of this NOFO. I want to note that there is not currently a budget person from DCEO online. So if you have budget related questions, you can put those in the chat, or we will discuss some technical assistance hours at the end of this that you can also come and discuss.
And hopefully it goes without saying that the high-level preview we're providing in these slides is not a substitute for reading the NOFO, which has a lot more information about the allowable costs that are listed here. So lots more detail in there.
Thanks, Gina. Yep. All right. So the total funding information is the total funding amount expected to be awarded through this NOFO is $1.5 to $2 million, with the approximate award range being $50,000 to $500,000. The department expects to make 10 to 12 awards through this NOFO, and as Gina discussed, the grant will be awarded to selected applicants for a period of 21 months from October 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. Pre-award costs may be allowed starting July 1, 2025, based on the final negotiation of terms of the grant. Gina, I think it's back to you.
All right, how to apply, how to submit. So the application deadline, this is not correct. I will put the correct application deadline in the chat in just a minute. It's definitely not April 1st of 2025. Sarah, maybe you can pop it into the chat. But we will talk a little bit about what needs to be included in the application materials. So you'll do the uniform grant application in a fillable PDF format and sign it electronically or print, sign, and scan it. You'll do the budget, uniform budget using the template provided for the project. You will do a conflict of interest disclosure that needs to be completed and signed, and then other mandatory disclosures that need to be completed and signed. You'll need a program narrative executive summary that can be no more than 1 page long, where you'll provide an overview of the LWIAs that are being served in your application, which of the LWIAs is applying, which others are included in the training area, the number of career planners in the training area that is included in your proposal. And then you'll give a concise overview summarizing the anticipated outcomes of local participation. Then you'll need a commitment statement from local leadership. So you'll describe the process used to identify your trainer or trainers, depending on how many are allocated to your area. You'll provide a narrative statement from LWIA leadership for each of the participating local areas, confirming their full support of the proposed trainers, their willingness to coordinate, to identify dates and locations for training. And you'll attach a partnership agreement or memorandum of understanding if that is what you all needed in your region. And then provide a narrative assurance that the proposed trainers are going to have the necessary time, resources, and support needed to fulfill the role. You'll be identifying your trainers as part of this proposal. So you'll have up to 4 pages to do that. So you'll identify the specific trainers. You'll talk about their skills and expertise. You'll give an overview of their relevant professional background and related skills. You'll describe their knowledge of and experience with case management and their ability to address more complex questions related to case management policy and practice, their experience with policy implementation and customer-centered service delivery, and their communication training and facilitation skills. You'll talk through their capacity building and professional development skills. demonstrate their previous engagement and commitment to professional development, particularly related to grant activities and outcomes, confirming their commitment to attend all of the trainings and participate at the required level, provide an estimate of the number of career planners that will be trained through the grant, and information about the physical location where the training will likely be coordinated. And then you'll attach their resumes with no page limit for that. For your budget and budget justification, which you can have up to 2 pages for, you'll give a detailed budget narrative that documents the reasonableness of the costs you're proposing and provide information about anything that you're leveraging to support the initiative. The review will be conducted using the same process that OET uses for all competitive grants. The scoring criteria here, so 30% of the score will be focused on capacity and commitment, 60% on the training qualifications and projected outcomes, and then 10% on the project cost. There will be reporting requirements associated with this. You'll use PPR and the PFR as you typically do. You'll also need to submit regular reports for the project as part of the grant requirements. And then there'll be some real-time reporting that would need to happen in order for everyone to stay on the same page about how the rollout of training is going. There will be office hours to support you all as you are responding to this NOFO. You can sign up for technical assistance office hours that'll be held via Zoom and get one-on-one assistance to prepare your proposals. So they'll be held on the following Wednesdays, September 12th, September 16th, September 23rd. You can see the time here. The access for these will be on WorkNet. And Sarah, if you have more information about how folks will access those.
Yeah, Kelly Trimble, are you on the call? I believe I saw you. If you can go ahead and put the link to the Illinois WorkNet page that houses this information, including the NOFO and a link to the office hours, that would be great.
Yes, I can do that.
And then David noted that these dates aren't Wednesdays, correct? These are open office hours specifically for this grant opportunity.
All right, I'm going to pull up the application deadline here momentarily. We have several questions that have come in the chat. So while I'm pulling up that application deadline, Sarah, do you want to take some of those questions?
Perfect. All right. So Crystal noted, will individuals who already attended the Train the Trainer sessions in full have to redo the Train the Trainer sessions if they are chosen to be the trainer for their region of IWDS? It's a really good question, Crystal. We haven't had that come up in discussion. I think
Sarah, what I'm thinking is that this, and correct us if we're misinterpreting, but there have been train the trainer for customer-centered service delivery activities, and that is separate. So yes, if the selected trainer is also doing the customer-centered service delivery training suite, they will also need to do all of the training related to this because it's going to be different.
Thanks, Gina. Crystal, did that answer your question? Okay. Where can we find application materials? You'll be able to find the application materials within the IWDS transition project page that was just put in the chat. And then I will also locate the DCO technical assistance and grant and NOFO page and put it in the chat. Did LWIA groupings change from the initial webinar in July? I'm not sure if they have changed. Yes, apparently.
They did, slightly, yes.
David, these dates aren't Wednesdays. Good. Yeah, that was an error on the PowerPoint. Michelle, correct application due date, please. So Gina just put in the chat, September 25th, 2025. And Robert, since trainers are expected to devote up to 16 hours per week during the rollout phase, how does DCO envision LEAs balancing these trainer responsibilities with existing job duties? Well, that's a really good point, Robert. And I think that that's why you'll really have to discuss with your region in identifying a trainer that has the capacity to do something like this. Um, your regional managers have also been versed on this grant opportunity and are ready to answer questions or have feedback. And you can also submit feedback or questions to me. And Michelle, yes, it's a tight turnaround, but we're excited to get this opportunity off the ground so we can start really training people in local areas because IWDS 2.0 and customer centered design is really important to OET. We want to make sure that message gets to the local areas quickly and in the best fashion. Are there any more questions?
So Robert, you're asking how DCEO is going to facilitate coordination across the trainers. So the trainers will become a cohort starting in October of this year. There will be a staff from OET who will be supporting them. There'll be a whole communication and coordination process with standing meetings and sort of standing communication protocols to ensure that close coordination and collaboration. They will hopefully feel like a team, bonded and ready to work together to do this.
All right, thank you. I just had to ask those questions because my always my pet peeve was I want everybody to be on the same page. I don't want somebody else doing this training, this one doing this training, and when customers come to different locations, well, they say this and they say that. Once everything is structured and everything is on the same page, I think that makes everything much better. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
And the work that AIR is doing is to develop a package of training that will make this as easy as possible for the trainers to deliver. There will be all the slides that are needed, all the talking points that are needed, all of the exercises, interactions will be described for them. So they will be optimally supported in delivering a consistent training across the state.
Great.
Debbie, you asked a question about if one trainer is enough for most regions. So there was a specific calculation based on the number of career planners working in each of the LWIAs that resulted in this number. So it's pretty it's consistent. No trainer has like a mismatch, a significantly more career planners that they need to train than others. So the idea is that it is enough. If a trainer leaves, that's a great point. And I think that's something that the LWIAs would want to discuss with OET and then, using the systems and coordination processes in place to bring that new person, get that new person onboarded.
Okay, because also I feel like it'll be more than just career planners, because I'm program staff as well, and I would need to be involved in the trainings.
So there's going to be, there will be other kinds of training for other kinds of users of IWDS 2.0.
Okay.
Amy asked, if staff are currently attending meetings regarding IWDS 2.0 build out, will these meetings be different? Yes, Amy, these meetings will be different in communicating your bandwidth to the IWDS 2.0 team. I know Kelly's on the call, will be something that the team will be receptive to, understanding that that's a lot of your time.
Some meetings will be the same though. So I think there was a slide earlier that said trainers will be added to ongoing development meetings. Those are the same ones, Amy, as what are already happening. So if someone who's already engaged is also a trainer, they'll just keep being engaged the way that they are. And then they'll have some additional meetings that are just like the train the trainer piece, getting them comfortable with the training materials.
Amy, does that make sense on your end? Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Okay,
Couldn't
perfect.
find my mic. Yes.
Awesome. All right, LaDonna, per the NOFO, the submission date is 30 days from the release, so it wouldn't have the due date till October 3rd. I'm on the DCO website also, and it looks like we have a little bit of it might be October 6th on the DCO website. So Gina and I will work to make sure that that date is correct when we send out this recording and the PowerPoint to you all, along with the technical assistance Zoom links, and highlight that application date range. Apologies that we're a
Yeah,
little bit cattywampus on that.
I apologize.
Uh,
I think the document that I have pulled up is a pre-publication draft, so I'm so sorry about that.
um, all right, Paul, if there is turnover of staff who is or was trained as a trainer, will more funds be available to train a new person? That also will have to be discussed internally, Paul. We understand that retention and staff and all of that is a concern and is the focal point of trying to make this training long-standing. So the train-the-trainer model has been implemented. Again, if you have questions or you're worried about that being an issue, communicating that to either your regional manager or emailing myself. I can put my email into the chat. We can discuss that more. Carrie, you have your hand raised.
Yes, after the end of this grant, June 30th of 2027, is it the expectation for local areas then just to train their own staff, or would a regional trainer still be something that DCEO is looking to continue after the phase-in process goes through and all career advisors that are case managers or whatever you're calling them receive the training one time and the funds are no longer available? What is the anticipation of the outcomes for the DCEO?
You're talking about ongoing technical assistance, Carrie, as far as
Right,
the
or
system goes.
new staff coming on. I mean, I'm just like referring it back to the Jim Potts days. Is there going to be an expectation for these individuals who are trained to continue on even if when the fundings are gone, or is each local workforce area going to have their own kind of expert to use a word, and making sure that their own new staff are trained?
The trainer would only be held to the measures and goals of this grant during the grant period. However, the training material that are available to the trainers will be available to the field. So the LMS, or the learning management system, and online curriculum that Gina mentioned will be available to the field, as well as the different training materials. In addition, one of my new jobs is to create an ongoing technical assistance schedule and work plan for the field. IWDS is going to be a big portion of that, and creating ongoing support for the field as well. So it wouldn't be a continued funded position at this time. However, we at OET plan to continuing supporting local areas, as this is a big change, and we understand that some of your staff may not be there forever, and we want to make sure that there's tools and information for you all to keep implementing customer-centered design and IWDS as it was intended. Does that answer your question, Carrie?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Great. And I'm going to go ahead and put my email into the chat. It's also in the NOFO. All right. Michelle, can you highlight significant changes from the original ALWEA groupings? I cannot. I don't know if Gina is able to either.
I cannot do it on the fly. We could make sure in the office hours, or I could prepare an email, Sarah, that you could send. We can get that information to you.
Yeah. Sorry, Michelle. I was not on OET during the July conversations, but if that's significant note from you, we can make sure to address that. All right. Any other questions? Okay. So this webinar has been recorded. The PowerPoint materials will be available to you and posted on the link that Kelly Trimble has put into the chat. Gina and I will work with our internal team to ensure you all have the correct submission date. That will be highlighted in a follow-up email I'll send to the bidder conference announcement that I sent previously. There are 3 office hours available to you. Those are also can be found on the link that Kelly put into the chat. And if you have any more questions, and Kelly noted that the recording will be posted today or tomorrow. If you have any more questions, you can email me and we'll work to make sure those are addressed. Thank you all for attending today. Gina, do you have anything else to say to the group? No?
No, thanks all.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.